It's coming home. The government will this morning sign off on our bid to bring Euro 2028 to Ireland. Great news, Shane. What do you make of it?
I'm not impressed by it, I have to say, Ciara. It's all fur coat and no knickers. It's pick your metaphor here. We are wallpapering over, putting new wallpaper over a massive crack, a massive hole in the wall. The wind is howling through. I say that because we have a big problem in this country in that the League of Ireland, most of the grounds are utterly unsuitable and in some cases dangerous. We had an incident 2 weeks ago at a match that was played, an important game. It was a playoff for the to get into the Premier League. The match was played at the Markets Field in Limerick. Fans had to be evacuated from the stand because the floor of the stand gave way. It was incredibly dangerous. It was incredibly fortunate no one was injured. They had to watch the match on a wet night on a grassy embankment. I mean, it was again incredible no one was injured watching the game from the grassy embankment. But here we are bidding for the second biggest football tournament in the world. It's typical of what we do. We're putting a gloss over everything. We'll actually forget. We're prioritising something that isn't important and forgetting something that is important. It's typical.
I totally disagree with you. And just to bring your own words back to you, you didn't want the America's Cup, you didn't want the Tour de France, and now you don't want the Euros. We are
totally different reasons. Totally different reasons. I didn't want the America's Cup because no one knows about it.
Finish.
I know, but if you're going to say something, you have to let me.
Well, you didn't want
totally
any
different things.
You didn't want
totally
any
different
of them.
arguments.
You didn't want any of these international sporting things to arrive.
Because they're a waste of money.
We are a wealthy country. All right, our tourism will benefit from 120,000 people will come here for the Euros. If we aren't able to do this now, I don't know when we are. And your argument, I'm not arguing against the fact that the FAI and the league and the stadia and the country could use investment. I'm not arguing with that. I'm saying they're two different things. It's like saying don't put up a Christmas tree because the trees in your garden are raggedy.
Totally different.
It's not. They are two different things. It won't mean if we don't have the Euros that they're going to invest in stadiums around the country.
It will.
No, it won't.
It will.
Shane.
That's my whole argument, Ciara.
But your whole argument is flawed because they aren't one or the other. They are two different things.
Unfortunately, it is, because what happens is we chase the shiny bauble and we ignore
it's a straw man
the
argument,
reality.
and I
it's
hate
not.
that term, but it is.
It's not a straw man argument.
You don't want any of these international things here. I'm not sure what you want in terms of people coming here for sporting events, but this will showcase Ireland. This is good for sport. This will bring people.
Here's what I want. I want investment in infrastructure for Irish people.
And this
That's what I want our taxpayers' money.
This will
Ciara,
do all of that.
We're talking about football. Don't be ridiculous. We're talking about football. Kids are playing football. It's the biggest event in the world. We don't need to inspire kids to play football.
And this will show them that they can see matches like this here in their own country. We are a rich country. There is no reason for us not to do this. And the fact that we haven't invested enough in the FAI, and I totally agree with that, that's fine. We need those stadiums to be improved. It's a separate issue.
We're chasing a shiny bauble and ignoring
it's
the
a
hole
Christmas
in
tree
the
with a
hole,
raggedy
literally
garden,
the hole
and
in the stand.
Let us know what you think. Should the Euros come here in 2028? Would you be glad to see them come here in 2028 along with the Tour de France and the America's Cup? Shane Coleman says no.
Don't queer the pitch. Listen, they're totally
against all of them. We've argued about all of these things.
And you wouldn't let me respond earlier. I'm going to respond now. I was against the America's Cup because it's an event that nobody knows about and it was going to cost an absolute fortune, way more than the Euros would cost. And I was against the Tour de France because the Tour de France is a deeply flawed event that was ridden with drugs. Totally separate arguments.
Let us know, would you like the Euros to come 2028? 53106 at a cost of 30 cents. I'd love to hear.
Let's all wave our flags and shiny
they're
baubles.
Two different things.
They're not.
They absolutely are.
As usual, we're chasing the shiny bauble and ignoring the reality.
We're
brilliant at that in this country.
It's apples and oranges, but nonetheless,
it's apples and apples, actually.